guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show. You'll have probably noticed from the running time it's a little bit shorter this week. The delivery was a little later coming in, only arrived on the Tuesday for us. So we pretty much just got the pull list finished there just before recording. Still a bit of work to do to get things ready, get that done in the morning, but just leaves me with slightly less time just to record this, but I, as ever, just want to get the information out where I can. So I'm pretty much just going to be taking you through the new stuff into the store this week. What variants we got in, and also my own pull list, so it gives you a sense of all the new stuff this week. I'll preface it all by saying the previews books arrived. No DC book, I'm assuming that'll come next week, but of course DC is the one book you can get online for free at DC Connect. Just Google DC Connect and you'll be able to find the latest issue. But I'll also be recording a podcast later tonight, going through the previews books, picking out our titles to look out for, so you can certainly find that on the podcast network as well. But yeah, the books are always in store as well, so if you're popping down, you can also have a wee flick through and let us know if anything appeals to you from there. So store-wise this week, a couple of things to watch out for. I continued getting more and more of the DC back stock out, so I finished off F and G. There was quite a big emphasis on Flash and on Green Lantern were the two big ones, so tons of new stuff went out there. And then also complete packs, runs of single issues. I think I got around 30 new packs out this week as well. So there's tons of new stuff in the back bays as ever, just for you to keep an eye out for next time you're in stores. So I'll kick things off just with my pull list this week anyway. It actually kicks off with a big massive one, but this is an omnibus I've been looking forward to for quite some time. This is the Question Omnibus, which is down as Volume 1. And this comes from the Superstar team of Denny O'Neil, and Dennis Cowan. And this is one, ever since it was solicited, I'm really looking forward to. It's a part of the DC universe you don't see quite so often. It's sort of the mystical side meets the noir detective side. And I've heard nothing but amazing stuff about this run. So there's additional art in here as well by Bill Sienkiewicz, Klaus Janson, Bill Ray, and more. So yeah, it says the first of 2 omnibus volumes, so this continues the stories and the letter columns as well, which is a nice touch. You know, you'll always find, or often find with omnibuses or collected editions, they won't really include the single issue material, but they've obviously decided to print it in this one. But you get that, plus you get the issues of the Question 1 to 27, plus the Question Annual, Green Arrow Annual, and Detective Comics Annual as well. So I know I have a bit of a stockpile of omnibuses at the moment that I want to get tore into, but this is going right to the top of the pile, quite simply because I've never read it before, but I hear nothing but great stuff. So that is the Question Omnibus, first thing on the pull this week. But on to the single issues then. So a few things to kick off with, a bit of indie stuff to kick off with. So latest issue of Berserker is this week. So we're continuing on. Kenny Reeves, probably a name only at this point in story credit, mainly written by Matt Kenton, art by Ron Garney. We're up to issue 9, and that's 9 of 12. Another example of how I can be easily motivated to buy variants, even for things I'm not particularly big fan of, is there's a new issue this week called Buffy 97. It's an oversized issue, but this Scream homage was just too much to not add into the collection. I've already got a Scream variant for Stray Dogs, but I saw this one and thought, yeah, I kind of need that as well. Next up is a return for everyone's favorite little Tim Knight. So we have Kanto back this week. I believe this is going to be a small mini-series similar to what they did in between number 2, Hollow Men, and number 3, Lionhearted. They did a mini-series which had a few other artists involved and sort of side quests, if you will. So this one is Kanto Tales of the Unnamed World. So kicking things off this week. I can see at the top, obviously, you've got David Embor and Drew Zucker's name there, but you've also got the likes of Jorge Corona, for example, Vito Estoni. So you'll have some different artists and different tales being told in that. Latest issue this week is out for Good Boy Volume 2. So this is issue 2. So I always push this quite a bit. You know, it's the John Wick story, but instead of the dog dying and John Wick going on a revenge-fueled massacre, it's the other way around. It's the dog that goes on the massacre. Next up, we have Image Plus. So this is the 3rd issue of the Image Anthology. So you're getting different excerpts of upcoming stories as well as fleshing out older Image classic stories as well. I can see there James Harren has done the cover. I think that's from a series called Rumble. So there'll no doubt be some good stuff to look forward to in that. A series I've really dug from Ablaze Comics is out this week, issue 5. This is Life Zero from Stefano Vietti and Marco Cicchetto. I love how they always say it's from the artist of Devil's Reign and Daredevil. But this has been a really cool sort of zombie book, reaching issue 5. Next up, we have Mindset. This is from Vault Comics. It's one I've looked forward to for a while as well, ever since it was put in the previews book. It's a writer called Zach Kaplan, whose stuff I'm really enjoying at the moment. And the preview art for that looks suitably psychedelic and trippy. Next up is the latest issue of A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance from Rick Remender and Andre Lima Arillo. And this is a title not for the faint-hearted issue. It was rather brutal, to say the least. But really cool tale. Really just all about the lengths people go to for revenge. And once they're in that situation, you know, how extreme will they go. But yeah, been a really, really good series, that. Sadly, this week we're saying goodbye to a few titles. A few of our favourite titles in store. And one of them we've pushed for years now. And that is Seven Secrets. Tom Taylor, Daniel DiNiculo, Walter Baiamonte on colours. You know, we've loved Seven Secrets. We're always talking about it in the podcast, always recommending it in store. Great all ages tale as well. Almost a bit manga influenced. But yeah, 18 issues is going to bring it to a close. There's going to be a third trade paperback volume. Each trade paperback volume is 6 issues. And then it wouldn't surprise me if there'll be a nice hardcover on the way for that, just because they want more of my money. Next up is an indie series kicking off this week through Image Comic. This is called Sins of the Black Flamingo. This is written by Andrew Wheeler. It's good to see Travis Moore on art for this. Travis Moore's been mostly doing covers recently, and his art style is really clean, really crisp. Tamara Bonvillain on as colorist as well. And then you see there Aditya Bidikar on letters. So really strong creative team on this. That's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. Into the world of DC, we have the next issue of Batman Beyond the White Knight. So, of course, continuing with the Murphyverse here. We're up as far as issue 4. And again, this has been every bit as good as you would expect it to be. Another title sadly coming to an end this week, and that is Batcat. So, issue 12, drawn by Clay Mann, written by Tom Kane, Tomei Murray on colours. This is the wedding issue, so for everybody who was peeved off that issue 50, they did not get married. Apparently they do in this. I may know how it ends already. Clay may have told me, but I will reveal nothing, of course. A couple of variants coming up next, but these are all series that I just collect the variants for. I don't get the cover A's. So first of all, you have the one shot for DC versus Vampires. This one is called Killers. So Matthew Rosenberg on board again for this. Lovely homage to a classic Batman cover by Todd McFarlane, by Brett Booth doing that. So we've got some spare copies of that in as well. Next up we have Detective Comics. Of course, I've always been collecting variants. Lee Bermejo's been knocking those out of the park. This is the last issue actually before Ram takes over. So again, if you're looking at jumping into Detective Comics, the next issue is the way to go, 1062. That'll be the brand new creative team starting. But I love me some Lee Bermejo covers, so Detective Comics there. New issue hit this week of Robin. So same again, I tend to go for the variants on the Robin series. Simon DeMeo doing the variant for this. I think this series is starting to wind down a little bit. I know they've solicited a new Robin Tim Drake series. And also Joshua Williamson said he was stepping off of Robin soon, so maybe that series is coming to an end, but great series it has been. Next up is Task Force Z, so Matthew Rosenberg once again, Eddie Barrows on colours. I always say this is like DC's hidden secret weapon. This is such a great series that not enough people are on, and it's really great to see Red Hood or Jason Todd headlining a series, and it is brilliantly written and expertly drawn as well. A little bit of Marvel for you now. So first of all, we have Captain America, Symbol of Truth. We're up to issue 2 of this. So Captain America, of course, is veered into 2 different titles. You've got your Sam Wilson title, which is Symbol of Truth, and then your Steve Rogers title, which is Sentinel of Liberty. So we're on to issue 2 of Symbol of Truth. What Deadpool is doing on the cover, I have no idea, but that might bring a few extra people into it. But really good first issue, that, so looking forward to number 2. Next up, we have Star Wars Obi-Wan. Yes, I am reading a Star Wars title, believe it or not. Christopher Camwell on this. This is sort of like early tales of Obi-Wan's life. Should say as well, we finally started the TV show, you know, way too late, but watched the first 3 episodes last night. Really dug that. Hopefully watch the next 3 either tonight or tomorrow to get through that. But first issue, that was great as well. Again, going back to when Obi-Wan was a child. Next up, we have a series called The Variants. Now, I'm interested in this series for about 5 different reasons. 1, it's a Jessica Jones title, so that always has me interested. 2, Gail Simone's writing it. 3, Phil Noto, who's done the cover here, is doing art. And 4, there's also a really fantastic Scotty Young cover for it as well, which is just really, really fun. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, a 5-issue miniseries. So one I've been looking forward to for a little while as well. And then the last one in here, Marvel again, is from Larry Hama, and that is Wolverine Patch, which is the 5-issue miniseries, which is focusing on the more 90s era Wolverine stuff. But yeah, just again, another example of Marvel going back to previous continuities and doing good stuff. You know, Silver Surfer Rebirth was another, Ben Reilly Spider-Man was another, for example. So from there, we move on to the variants side of things, and we have a big selection of variants out this week. So I've just shown it off on my pull list there, but definitely worth looking at again. DC versus Vampires Killers, which is Brett Booth. And again, it's after Todd McFarlane, after that classic Batman cover. We got restocks in of Black Adam #1. This is the Rafa Sandoval variant for that series. These were ones that were damaged last week, so we had to get replacements sent. Same with this, Batman the Knight #6. Again, a title out from a week or two ago, but our copies were damaged. We needed new ones in, but it's Ricardo Federici has been doing these covers. Of course, doing such great interior work for Action Comics as well. A little variant for Batcat as well. So again, last issue, in case you didn't want that wraparound gorgeous Clay Mann cover, why you wouldn't be on me. But if you fancy the variant, Travis Charest has been knocking these out of the park as well. And this is the 12th in a series they've done for the title. We've got Action Comics up next. This is from Ian Churchill, which is sort of showing the transformation of Clark into Superman. So you see Clark in the background, shirt's coming off, symbol comes out, up and away. One of my favorite cover artists is Jem Bartel. Her stuff is just so colorful, so bright, so happy, you know, which is nice to see. So you've got X-Men Red #4 this week. And again, this is all of the characters getting ready for the Hellfire Gala. Again, I can't emphasize enough, just such beautiful covers. Then we have Venom Lethal Protector up next. This is from Kyle Holtz, of course, longtime Venom artist. Always does a really detailed, grisly, violent-looking Venom. And this mini-series variant is no different. Again, I've just shown off the Scotty Young cover for the variants, but again, we've got that in stock. Next up, we have She-Hulk from Russell Dauterman. And again, this is showing all the different She-Hulks throughout history. This is a style of cover Marvel have done a few times recently, showing their characters through the ages, and they always look great. Same again, this should have been here last week, but it was missing in the delivery, but this is for Punisher War Journal. Blitz, this is the Jeff Decal variant cover for that. Really, really good one-shot as well. Highly recommend that just for the story as much as the cover. Iron Man Hellcat is another variant up this week. This is from Artgerm, Stanley Artgerm Lau. So pretty cool cover, but has Iron Man on it, so I ain't interested. Next up, we have Spider-Man 2099 Exodus. We're on the issue 3 now. This is the Ron Lim variant cover, which I believe forms a connecting cover. So you're seeing a few more different characters. This is introducing the Avengers of 2099. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is up next. We're up to issue 130, and of course this is original creator Kevin Eastman continuing to do his variant covers there. Again, I showed this one off of my pull list, but worth looking at again. No, I'm not holding this upside down, by the way. That is a reflection in a puddle. You can just about see Bruce Wayne's feet at the top. So this is the Lee Bermeo variant cover. Berserker, as I say, is back this week. We've got a couple of different covers. We have a couple of foil covers, first of all, which always prove popular. You always have a foil cover just of the main cover, but then also an alternative. And then we also have the 1 to 10 variant covers in as well. You know, it kind of looks a little bit like John Wick with his 2 wolves, but yeah. So you have that. I already showed off as well, of course, the Buffy 97, the Scream homage variant cover. And then we finish off with a cover referencing the Book of Boba Fett. This is the Star Wars Dr. Aphra 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm variant cover. Ooh, that was a mouthful. So we've got those in as well, and again Boba Fett on there, so usually proves popular in store. So yeah, that is my pull list taken care of. That is the variants taken care of. I'll now take you through some of the stuff that came into the store this week. So yeah, graphic novel wise, a nice wee selection this week. Maybe a slightly quieter week than some other weeks, but you know, I just order so much stuff that tends to be the case every so often. So first of all, we have a original hardcover graphic novel. Now this never came out in single issue form. This is just straight to hardcover. It's written by Jerry Dugan. Art by, quote, your new favorite artist, Scott Buoncristiano. That is quite the introduction, your new favorite artist. Tamara Bonville, again, on colours. This does sound really, really cool. In fairness, the hunt for a camera containing an underdeveloped photo of the face of true evil threatens to wipe out New York one chilly autumn evening. Joanna Mahoney is a curator of a private collection of extremely dangerous cursed objects, and her knight's about to go to hell. Werewolves, secret societies, blessed animals, cursed objects, and more in a fantasy horror comedy from X-Men and Deadpool writer Jerry Dugan. So yeah, I think this looks really, really cool. And the preview art does look pretty great for it. I always thought the cover looked a little bit like, I remember seeing this in the previews book, and I thought the art on the cover looked a little bit like Dan Mora's style, but that could just be Tamara Bonvillain's colour. A couple of classics were reordered back in this week. So first of all, we have From Hell, Alan Moore, of course. And this is the Eddie Campbell on art, I should say, as well. And this, of course, is Alan Moore's look into the Jack the Ripper legend and giving his own view on it. It's a challenging read in places. It's a very grisly read in places. It's an Alan Moore book. What more can I say? We've been getting in the Sandman volumes again as well, obviously coming up soon. The new Netflix series, trailers have looked great so far. So I've been getting these back in stock. We have 1 and 3 on the shelves. Get number 2 back in stock there as well. So just in case you want to do a bit of reading before the series comes out. We have the second volume of Basilisk, Cullen Bunn and Jonas Scharf on this one. Again, quite a dark horror series from Cullen Bunn. Man never seems to stop writing. But we've got the first volume in stock as well. And then this is volume 2. This is from Boom Studios. Just showing off Crimson Cage again. Came out last week. Again, several copies arrived damaged. So it's almost like having it back in stock. But again, cannot recommend enough. Such a great title from John Lees and Alex Cormack, creators of Sync. We have a new Miss Marvel, almost perfectly timed, volume of Miss Marvel in this week as well. Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit. This was a 5-issue miniseries. By Samara Ahmed, Andres Ginole, and Triona Farrell on colours. So if you're enjoying the TV show, lovely wee mini-series to jump into there. I'd say about getting a few classics back in stock. So we have Transmetropolitan back in. So Warren Ellis, Derek Robertson, of course. I believe each one of these does contain around 12 to 14 issues each time. So 12 issues each time. So Volume 1, Volume 3 back in stock. One for all ages next, which is Teen Titans Go Undead. So again, these are part of the DC graphic novels for kids range. Again, we always like to have stuff in for younger readers as well, and I do always like that they do these smaller size ones, smaller hands, easier to hold for them. So there is that. Continuing on with the Alan Moore theme and the classics, we've V for Vendetta back in stock. So Alan Moore and David Lloyd, of course. Remember the 5th of November. Everybody knows this. This is a story that is a bit too close to home right now with how the world is. Set in an imagined future England that has given itself over to fascism. Yep, less said about that the better. Next up is Snow Angels. So this is the second volume and the last volume of Snow Angels. This was from Jeff Lemire and Jock on art. This was originally a Comixology series and now printed by Dark Horse. And it is fantastic. I read this at the weekend. But what's cool is we got these little book plates in as well that come with every edition, which have been signed by Jeff Lemire and Jock as well. So while stocks last on those. A couple of classic Batman New 52 volumes back in stock. It's hard not to see that a lot of the Batman was influenced by this 2-part story arc, which was 0 Year. So Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. Again, this is just me making sure as much as possible we have the whole Snyder and Capullo run in at all times, because it is one of our favourite runs in store. I mentioned Good Boy Volume 2 in single issues. Well, the graphic novel launches this week for Volume 1. So Source Point Press for this. I mean, you know that a book like this is good, when I recommend it. But also when you see the blurbs on the back from some of the people who enjoyed it as well. So you've got blurbs by Tom King, James Tynion IV, Gail Simone, Bill Sienkiewicz, Donny Cates. That's a pretty, that's a murderer's row right there. Obviously soon we've got Thor Love and Thunder coming up. So again, if you want to do a bit of reading in advance, they just launched these new editions this week, which is the Saga of Gore, the God Butcher. Of course, is going to be played by Christian Bale in the upcoming movie. So this one is collecting God of Thunder 1 to 11, focusing primarily on the God Butcher. So definitely worth picking up again if you want a bit of advanced reading. Of course, I'd mentioned Transmetropolitan, another version there. Then we have The Boys Omnibus Volume 2. So same again, I've been getting these in to make sure we have them in stock. From what I understand, the new season's great. I haven't had a chance to jump into it just yet, but I will be soon, I promise. but this is, you know, filling in the gaps of what's on the rack. So these omnibuses are great. These are the editions I have as well, and you always get a good sort of 16 issues or so in each one, so definitely worth having. Last trade paperback of the week is What's the Furthest Place from Here. This is another series we're big fans of in store, drawn by Tyler Boss, written by Matthew Rosenberg. Same again, you look at the blurbs on the back: James Tynion IV, Ed Brubaker, Rick Remender, Scott Snyder, Jason Aaron, all recommending this. This is fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. And this collects the first 6 issues. Clearly they were thicker issues. This is a really good thick trade from Image Comics, so plenty to tear into there. And then I already spoke about it quite a bit, but obviously it was on my own pull list, but you know, copies of The Question Omnibus in this week as well. So Denny O'Neil and Dennis Cowan for that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to tucking into that. So yeah, that is it. As I say, a slightly shorter show this week. Just a little bit more up against it when the delivery comes on a Tuesday as opposed to the Monday. So, but yeah, as I say, keep an eye out for the podcast. I'll be putting up a previews one soon. I've already done the recommendations on the board in the store for DC and Marvel, and I'll be doing the indie one hopefully in the next day or two as well. But again, you can find more information for that on the podcast as well, so make sure to check that out. Otherwise, yeah, everything goes on sale tomorrow. Everything will be ready to go. You'll have the pleasure of Vicky's company tomorrow as opposed to my own, as I continue to mutilate myself with more tattoos tomorrow. So, you know, fit in as many as I can in the 3 weeks I have left as a, you know, non-parent. But yeah, looking forward to that. Anyway, guys, as ever, hope this proved useful. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you in store soon. So take it easy.